is someone that gave me the chance to experience the life for what it is, and I choose to come here. Hey everyone, and today a particular video because I'm going to talk about spirituality and what means to be a spiritual person. But first of all, I want to thank everyone stopping by, and I want to just spend 2 seconds to thank all the listeners through the podcast that you can find down below in the description. And I invite you right now to press the like button if you like my contents, to subscribe, and to actually press the bell. I will remind you at the end of the video, but it's better sometimes tell you immediately so you won't forget at the end. Let's start with the video then, and today we are talking about spirituality. Now, it's a very tough, how can I say, argument, let's say, no argument, actually topic, because I understand that everyone has a different concept, and I'm going to hit a lot of little things that maybe people are not really used to. But I think it must be clear where I'm living, in which kind of frequency and level I'm living, and it's good for you probably to understand who you got in front of your screen now. First of all, why I'm talking about spirituality and not religion? Because for me, religion is an institution, okay? And in fact, it is an institution. I can start talking about the Catholicism, and the Christian in general. They are all institutions. They are all recognized from the state. But I've been over that, okay? So I'm not talking about any of those institutions. I'm not going to judge any of them. If you're part of them and you believe in that and you find beneficial that's absolutely fine. But there are a little bunch of people, let's say, that is increasing every single day more and more, that actually can't fit anymore in the description of any of those religions, and that can create a little bit of loneliness, can create in you a little bit of not only loneliness, but it's like being abandoned from the society, because you don't have a spot, you don't have a box where to fit in. And I felt the same for a long time. I'm still working on this, but I can speak about spirituality now, and I can be even a coach about spirituality, because I can tell you several things that now are quite established in my mind, and they are there, so I can actually teach other people how to achieve that point. Let's start about what means spiritual. Spiritual is someone that is connected with a kind of energy or divinity, okay? It doesn't mean that the divinity needs to be a new one. It doesn't need to be one related to any of the religion that we know. But personally, I have a kind of a concept where my personal God is basically the universe itself. And that, to me, changed a lot of things in my life. I started to first understand where I was standing in my life and what was actually God in my life, in my mind. And I could do that because I studied a long time about, my own religion, but also the other religions too. Basically the philosophy, not really the history, because I'm not really into history of religion, even though it's very interesting, but you can spend an entire life there, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to know the main principles, the main let's say, ceremonials, attitude that are involved in every religion. And doing that made me understanding that the human being needs absolutely something to believe in. And now probably you will tell me, but there are even atheists, right? that don't believe in God or in any entity, but they believe in something. They believe in what they love. They believe in what they do. They believe in the thing that they can actually touch. Even though, if you think about that, sometimes I make this example. You believe in what you can touch, you can see. But what about the smell? And what about the listening? So the voices, the music, etc. Because they are invisible, but they are there. Scientifically, they can explain you why they are there, but in actual fact, you can't see that. And also, those two things are quite relevant in terms of, understanding that everyone has a different perception of the music, so different ears, and also different perception of the smell. It's the same with the eyesight, it's the same with the touch. But, I think you can understand where I'm going to with this kind of topic and talk. Is that actually everything is perceived from you for what you are. And there is not a rule, a specific rule or scientific rule that can tell you how you're supposed to listen or how you're supposed to smell or things like that. Because it is impossible. Everyone is different. Everyone has a different taste, for instance. And you can't change that. So you need to accept the fact that everything that is scientific maybe is not enough. Even though the science trying to explain sometimes phenomena or let's say things that they can't explain because they appear like magic, they try to explain with the science. And of course now there is the research about the atoms and things that we suppose they should be there. But if you think about the universe, we had recently one of the first shots of the James Webb Telescope that it was impressive. But it was even more impressive to look at that picture and thinking that we are one of the little dusty particles in all that huge picture. Of course, the telescope wasn't pointing in the direction of the Earth for sure, but it's just to let you know that in proportion we are just one little particle there. And with all that immensity, there are so many questions, there are so many things that we don't yet know. And having the arrogance to say, oh, but we can prove everything with the science. Well, no, not yet. Not yet. Because if we could prove everything with science, we had the cure of a lot of illness, we had the solution of the poverty, we could solve a lot of problems. So there is a little bit of a gap that I accept people that tell me I don't believe in anything, but I know for sure that they believe in something, okay? Even believing in the science, that's it. But what about us, that we believe in something but we don't know what? There is something that actually you should take time to understand, because if you feel like you believe in something, you need to understand what is this something. And don't give for granted that is a female or a male or an entity that is there just looking at you and having fun because maybe you're doing mistake or whatsoever. In my personal experience, it's something different, it's more than that. It's someone that gave me the chance to experience the life for what it is, and I choose to come here in some ways. And I'm experiencing this particular moment, and is a frame of all the history just because it must be an experience, it can't be the eternal life. We are basically how can I say, spiritual being in a human body, and when the human body will be deteriorating, my soul, my spirit will still be there. Of course, I don't have proof of that because, again, spirituality is something that you feel, is something that you actually convinced about because you have your own guidelines in your life. And for that reason, I always tell people that, spirituality is very personal. I can teach you how to achieve your kind of spirituality because I can ask you the right questions, because I can tell you what to do to achieve that point, but it's really personal. So everyone needs to be just, accompanied until a certain point, until a gate where they have to open by themselves. And then we can keep going, but they will need to do the first action. Otherwise, it would be absolutely useless. So this is something that I wanted to specify. And now that I found my personal dimension of the spirituality, I'm still working on that. I'm still trying to define things, but I realized that the more you do that, the more it's useless, because you can't, let's say, put in chain something that you don't know. You can't put in chain things because you're feeling lost or abandoned, because you don't know what could be next. You need to accept sometimes the uncertainties of the things and living your life for what it is, but at the same time being conscious that you're not alone, and actually there is something bigger over your head that is more fascinating and more interesting than anything else in your life. I will continue on this topic for sure, because this is just the beginning. But I wanted just to hear from you if you have any questions or any doubts, and from there maybe I can keep going with my with this topic, and maybe keep going with answering your question, or maybe discussing about what you left down in the comments. Then this is it for this video and for this podcast. So I thank you very much, everyone that is watching or listening. I invite you to subscribe to my podcast page or to my YouTube channel, clicking the like button, pressing the subscription button, and pressing the bell as well, as I reminded you at the very beginning. And this is it. I wish you all the best for your life. Have a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening. Don't forget to live for wonders, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye, and have a lovely day.